The price of Bitcoin got a major rally, almost hitting $85,000. Now, throughout the last 24 hours, we are getting a little bit of a range, a little bit of a stop here, a cool off that can be very good to get our next leg to the upside, or do we need to pull back to lower levels? It is pretty curious to ask the community on my live streams, are you feeling bullish for the next coming weeks and months for Bitcoin possibly going to all-time high? Or do you feel bearish? This is a bull trap and we are going to start rolling down from here. Let me know your sentiment down below, because usually it's a 50-50, right? We've got lots of bulls and lots of bears. Let me know, what do you think down below in the comment section. Now, in this episode, we'll be going through the realistic projections, right? Looking at the levels of resistance, support, the possible moves to the upside and to the downside, looking at Elliott wave theory and some good Fibonacci levels. Now, when we do zoom out on the higher time frame, something that I spoke about a few days ago, we are moving very similar to this price action that we had from the previous cycle. And what we did notice in this cycle is that we front-runned the 4-year cycle theory. So we hit all-time high before the halving. We also here had a massive rally throughout October, November, and December. In the previous cycle, it was mainly January, February, part of March, okay? So we are rallying this cycle a few months in advance. And when you do take a look at the overall picture, when we do get the bars pattern from this, really nice rally to the upside that we had on the previous cycle, what is very curious is also the drop, right? Very similar drop that we had also that happened in February. On the previous cycle, this happened in May. So yeah, we kind of dropped down very aggressively to consolidate here throughout March and April, which happened a few months later on the previous cycle. So, we are front running all of these movements. We actually got this nice little pump in April of this year. And on the previous cycle, it happened in June, July. So very similar movements here. Now, what I want to explain, of course, from this possible reaccumulation scenario, right, that we've had throughout February, March, and April, and now getting this rally, is, we're going to start facing some major resistance. If we do follow through the previous cycle, okay, on this major rally after the, nice accumulation, we started hitting some major resistance. Now, if you guessed what Fibonacci we got the resistance and we pulled back here, a significant move here to the downside of almost $10,000. Well, we can see Fibonacci retracement from the highs to the lows. The golden pocket was the one that got the resistance, right? We had a major rally to the upside. Of course, we need some kind of pullback to get continuation back up, right? So golden pocket got the resistance. This is coming down to the base of the major distribution zone, right? We've got all of these lows, right? The base, the value area low of this entire consolidation that was providing that resistance for that pullback. When we fast forward to this cycle, when we take a look at the similarities of this movement right over here, we are starting to see some major resistance. So let's just fast forward here to the current price action. And of course, you do have that kind of distribution, double top scenario coming down here with this major drop that we had in February, and then forming this kind of accumulation, right, with a spring point. This is what I'm talking about. This area at $94,000, $96,000 range, we haven't quite hit the golden pocket from the all-time highs to the lows just quite yet. That is sitting at $96,000. What we do see, as mentioned yesterday, is that we have the base right over here and the value area low and the point of control. This is an area of massive resistance. Now, of course, the question is, regardless if we do take out the highs again, there is a scenario of taking out the high, but this area is to get resistance and a significant pullback down, okay? I will just explain it based on the resistance, golden pocket, the similarities here of the distribution and the accumulation. We are facing a major resistance zone, right? It's just, you can see it on the price action from the previous cycle, as I've just shown you. So what do we need to take into consideration? Well, we'll be, zooming in on the 4-hourly time frame to analyze very carefully this movement to the upside, right? Is it realistic that we do shoot up from here, right? Without any major, consolidation for the next coming days and a bit of a pullback? Well, it's unrealistic, right? Could we get a shallow pullback and attempt to hit the highs again? Well, absolutely. We'll be going into this scenario right over here, but regardless, if we do get a shallow pullback and revisit the highs, this is very likely going to be a wave 5, which I will explain later on the 1 hourly time frame, right? And then you're looking for the decent corrective move. So now the question is, can we manage to hit the highs again? I do think so. It's very possible based on the local time frame, which I will explain. What is very curious to see is also the similarities from this major pump. This is when Donald Trump, posted a tweet about the crypto reserve, Bitcoin reserve, if I'm not mistaken. And when we also get the bars pattern, this is on the very lower time frames, of course, nothing too, it is similar, but on the higher time frame, right? When we take a look at the move here from the lows to the highs, well, obviously when we do put this right over here, it's like, this movement is not the same. Well, this is on lower time frames. This movement happened very fast compared to this one that did take a few weeks. So what we want to do is extend this, right? When we extend this movement right over here, it is very, very similar. So for the moment, we got a 3-wave move to the upside. We don't like 3 waves to the upside because it can be a correction and the price can roll back down. So it is crucial after this consolidation that we do actually revisit the highs. So then we do have a proper solid impulsive move down, and then the correction can be very attractive to form a higher low and then get the reversal, right? So as you can see, totally different time frame, right? But this movement is very, very similar to this one right over here. However, this one is on the higher time frame. So for the moment, you can actually map that we have a 3-wave structure. So this is the kind of danger right now, right? There's a 3-wave structure right now forming. And as we have been downtrending, we're hitting, a major resistance. Can we be in a much larger complex corrective move that can be a WXY scenario? We're going to go to much lower levels, right? That is the question, because when we take a look at the timing from this corrective move, we still have a lot of time compared, to the impulsive move that we had since August of 2024. There's still a lot of time. We're not overextending, regardless if this is the low and this is the high. We haven't even crossed the 0.618 timing, right? Not even hitting the 1-to-1, which would be coming up to the July. So there's a lot of time still to range and consolidate and maybe see lower prices. Even if you do get this being the low right there, or even this one still right over here, we're still very much in the timing, not even crossing the 1-to-1. So there's time still to, dance around in this region before we head up to all-time high, right? Regardless of taking out the low or not. So that is the question right now. What we clearly see, as explained with the bars pattern, is for the moment, we have a 3-wave structure. It's incredibly crucial to be bullish to get, a 5-wave move up, attempt to break above $95,000. There's no doubt in my mind that this pump that we do have, getting above $94,000, right? Maybe even $96,000, $97,000 to actually hit that point of control and the golden pocket of this consolidation. It's going to be a level of resistance where we could be seeing that pullback, then that 3-wave structure, or maybe, we need to analyze the movement down, right? Very, very carefully. But this is without a doubt a zone where we would be expecting, some kind of a retracement, right? To shoot up here to all-time highs, let's say, let's be realistic, right? This is an unlikely scenario, right? We would have to see a massive bullish catalyst, right? To see, this continuation and pumping another $15,000, right? Out of nowhere in the coming days. And, with that to happen without a pullback, considering the waves that we formed throughout the last couple of weeks is very unrealistic, right? So we need to be a little bit ready for the situation and understand that a successful breakout above $95,000, even though if we do come up there, right, from this retracement to shoot up to above $100,000 is an unlikely scenario. So we want to be a little bit careful for all of those people that are coming too bullish right over here at the highs, and that a corrective move, right, corrective or impulsive, regardless, right, we need to analyze the movement down in the next coming days to see if it is going to be, looking very, very good. Now, I'm going to zoom in on the lower time frames, go to the 1 hourly. If you want more in detail analysis of, lower timeframes and looking for scalping scenarios, you want to join the Legends trading community on Discord, where you have the modules to learn how to trade, and you got the coaches providing setups and educational videos every single day, guys. It is the 4th link down below in the description. Of course, if you are interested in trading, you got weeks as well that just requires an email and a password, and you do get a 20% deposit bonus up to $2,000. You transfer the deposit to your futures account, and in 3 days you're getting that airdrop to increase your capital. Also with that 25% fee reduction on your trades as soon as you sign up with the link down below. So let's focus on the lower time frame and try and understand here this movement to the upside. Okay, and analyze, very, very carefully. As mentioned on yesterday's video, we got our first initial move to the upside here. You got your corrective move that either can be a triangle or a WXY, and then most importantly, what we're analyzing is this latest move to the upside, right? And when we do zoom in, we can clearly see right now, we're getting a little bit of a pullback, getting some resistance. Is this a wave 4, right? Because what is clear for me is this initial pump to the upside, this being your wave 2, and now possibly finishing your wave 3, and your wave 4 is forming right now. There is a chance for this to be a wave 4, and your wave 5 here has been an expanding move, okay? That is also definitely a possibility. I like the idea that the timing of your wave 4 needs to be a little bit longer. That is most common to see your wave 4 a little bit long in time compared to your wave 2. So this is just about right to get your next leg to the upside, right? So the levels that need a hold here for your wave 4, as mentioned yesterday, is in between the 236 Fibonacci and the 50% Fibonacci taken from your wave 2 to the high of your wave 3. Now, for the moment, your 236 has been hit. 382 has not been hit just yet, but this would be the interesting area, right? We kind of double bottoming from the lows created yesterday. So could have this been the ABC movement? We're going to find some support and then start rallying. Well, the first initial move to the upside is going to be crucial, guys. We'll be eyeing this scenario in the Legends trading community to really check the bounce, right? The bounce here is going to be crucial, regardless if it's going to be 382 or 50%. The bounce, the first initial bounce, is going to be what we are going to be analyzing very, very carefully. Can we get a nice first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a corrective move, bullish CVD divergence, and then look for the 3, 4, 5 to finish your 5th wave. So we are interested in long positions still, even though we are at the highs, just because we realize that another wave could be formed here. Then I would be very interested in looking for the shorts. But first, let's try and get up there. If the price does break down from here and goes to much lower levels, then we really need to consider the bearish case. Maybe this has already been the top and we have already formed the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right over here. If you do go to the lower time frames, it's a very, very shallow in time 4th wave, but you do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, expanding move. I don't think that would be the case. Wave 4 is very, very shallow in timing. So I'm leaning on the possibility that we do find some support here. Also got an order block right over here on the higher time frames that could actually hold the 382 50% to then get another leg to the upside. If we were to break down as explained and touch the golden pocket from this pivot low to the pivot high, right, then we need to be a little bit cautious. That could be looking quite bearish. That means that this movement to the upside has finished, right? It has finished, and for this to be a wave 4 would be extremely rare. You would have to start thinking of a contracting move, right? Or an expanding move, but that would be a clear first sign of weakness coming down to $89,500, which would invalidate here a strong impulse to the upside already, and that we're probably looking at this to be a local top, and then we'll analyze the situation later on. So overall, this is what we got here, looking at the lower time frames, right? The major levels, just keeping it very, very simple. We could get, many more levels of confluence on the chart, but this is what we're looking at here for the moment for the price to get another leg to the upside. If you are interested, we will be doing a live stream later on in a few hours from this video update, and we'll be looking for some intraday scalping opportunities to really see, what could happen after the next few hours of analyzing that local time frame, right? Getting a plan ready and looking for some trading setups. Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you in the next one.